the Sky Kid. It's Thursday night. We're at the B&B, and on the phone with us from Carthage, Tennessee, is Les McDonald from the Shadow Scene podcast. Hello, Les.
Hello.
So, how about we start off with who you are and what it is you do? I know you as both a musician and as another supporter via a platform such as a podcast blog. So talk to the listening audience about how long have you been doing those things and what is the Shadow Scene podcast?
Okay, so basically the Shadow Scene podcast was an idea I came up with a couple of years ago when I was in my band Dead Watt, and I got tired of going to Nashville, and I got tired of playing shows with only two people in the audience. I think everybody knows how that is. And I just know I got tired of that, and I noticed that a lot of bands were getting exposure. Like certain bands were getting on the radio, and certain bands weren't. And I just wanted to create a platform for those bands in Nashville that were local, you know, to kind of have a place where they can kind of like show off their music and not worry about any bias or any musical bias. Because I think all of you know, Nashville's a country music scene. So if you're not country music, they don't care. They don't want to deal with you. So I just created the podcast as a way to kind of showcase artists. And then just so happens I kind of got into the ska thing more. And a lot of ska bands started submitting their stuff. And before you knew it, like I had a podcast. So it's been fun so far.
How long have you been doing the Shadow Scene podcast?
The Shadow Scene podcast I've been doing for about a year and a half now. It was another podcast before that, which apparently I'm not allowed to name, so to speak. But it was another podcast.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I can't say the name on anything anymore, apparently. But that was my podcast at one point, and then I just switched it off because the producer on the show was kind of not letting me do the things that I wanted to do necessarily, and wasn't listening to the vision that I had for it. And they left the show, so I was like, whatever, dude. I'll just, I'll think of another name for it, and I'll keep going. So that's what I've done. Is I just,
So from then to now, are you doing this like out of your home? Do you go into a studio? How do people submit music to you?
So what they do is they submit. So they submit it to my email, their music, to the Shadow Scene Show at gmail.com. They submit their music, and now actually they can submit their video to me. If they want to play a music video, I can actually do that on the show now. I've got the technology to do so now, thank God. So I can show music videos, and they just send it to my email, and I just put it on the show. But yeah, so what was the question again? I got lost in all saying, sorry.
So people submit to you via that, and how, I guess, now that you've been doing this a year and a half, are you doing this out of the comfort of your home? Do you go into a studio to do it, or how,
So yeah, so I'm actually doing it out of my house. I do it in my home, and before all the COVID-19 stuff started, I actually had a studio down on Music Row in Nashville. Ooh. I had all the equipment I ever wanted in that studio that I was going to be able to go in and do the podcast in. I had a friend that was going to loan me the studio, a couple of times a week to do shows. And just so happens, like I said, COVID happened. They shut the studio down for a little bit, to keep people out. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But, it's the same here. It would have been a little bit more of a high-quality product, I feel like, if I had done it in that studio. But, it happens. I'm not sour about it. It's just things happen,
Right. So when you create, how often are you creating content, and where can people find this?
So I always post links on our Facebook page, the Shadow Scene Podcast, to our YouTube channel. They can go on SoundCloud and listen to our show. They can go on, I think I'm just going to start putting it on Bandcamp also, but I haven't decided that yet. But I actually do stream it play the show from my actual Facebook on the Shadow Scene Podcast. So anytime, if they just turn on their notifications, it'll pop up that I just released another show. So I try to make it as easy as I can for everybody, you know?
So how about we lay out like the similarities and differences between what you and I do? So do you go live day of, or is it pre-recorded and then released?
As of right now, I'm pre-recorded just because if I was in that studio, it would have been live.
Okay.
I would have had the equipment to do so, but I do pre-recorded, and I've started doing this to show everybody why I pre-record. It's because I'm a screw up, and I screw up live all the time. So I actually did some bloopers the other day showing where I screw up all the time, and it's funny. But yeah, I just do takes, and I just pre-record it, and I put all that together, and that's what my content is.
So prior, that shall not be named. It was that was a collab with you and a couple other people, right? That was like a more like radio show-ish.
Actually, true story. That was the podcast I actually started, and I just went in with, like I said, I did go in with a couple of people on that, and it was we were trying to make it more like a TRL type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the old days, and it just kept getting. The more we did that, the more I started feeling like, man, it's just becoming too commercial because the guy that we were using at the time that was our producer. He came from a radio show. He worked for one of the radio stations in Nashville, and it was becoming too commercial, and I just felt like a sellout. I don't know if that's weird to say or not.
Nope.
I just did.
I get it.
And I was like, this isn't underground anymore. And then I started getting silenced on what I could say and what I couldn't say. They started telling me that I can't say this because if I say this, he can get fired from his radio show. And if I can't talk about issues of color, I can't talk about racial issues, I can't talk about issues of LGBT, I can't talk about anything. I have to talk about music only. And I didn't feel right doing that.
Whoa. This thing that you were doing just for fun with friends turned into a whole PR mess?
It turned into a super PR mess, and like they wanted to make money off of it, and I didn't feel right. There were ideas coming up where they were like, well, we're going to charge artists $100 to be on the show, and I was like, well, F that, man. I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? Like, I wouldn't pay $100 to be on my own show.
Oh, when capitalism ruins everything.
It does. And once that happened, I started going, okay, I started trying to find ways to get out of the show. I would start canceling. Like, I started canceling my own show. I would go, hey, I can't be today. I'm sick. And I just started making excuses. And then before long, they were like, before long, there was a big explosion between me and the people that work for it. And, they badmouthed me all over Nashville, and I don't really care at all. I could care less. But, it just got to the point where it was a PR mess, and it became about money and about fame, and I just wasn't really, that's just not who I am. And I think everybody wants to be famous. That is what I'm saying. I think that, I don't want to be famous just to be famous. And, that's why I'm so anti-hashtag with people, because those same kind of people will get online and they'll hashtag things just to trend and not because they care about it, just to get likes. And I was just like, well, I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to do that. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. And I just, I just left it alone, and I just formed my own show.
Now it's just you, right? Do you have any?
It's just me.
Okay. Hey.
It's just I have people that do. I have people that are on the team, kind of, that like from here and there they'll go, hey, can I do a write up of this band? Can I do like a blog post for this band and trying to promote them? I'm like, yeah, sure. And people send me funny memes to do and things like that, and it's become a fun thing for me.
Good.
And I'm thinking about changing the show from the Shadow Scene podcast to the Band Trap Sucks podcast instead. But that's what I want to do from now on. But that's another story for another time. That's another story for another time.
That's wonderful. I applaud and appreciate your integrity. It's funny because we started this, there's another similarity. We started this to basically say fuck you to the radio station I worked at. And then we did have a few people come on who got butthurt that I wouldn't let them take control of it. And then they left.
Yeah.
So a band's album got deleted in the process, but you have to stay true to the initial intent of what you're creating. Like, I'm creating an underground network, you're creating an underground network. That's why we're connected, because I want my bands to go to your show and you appreciate that as well. So there's that collab, I think, can happen. You don't have to have the hashtag fancy to, make it profitable. But that kind of moves me into my next question as far as the content of your show. Are you still just kind of local, regional, or have you branched out to global?
I've actually branched out to global. I had a band from Australia send a tape in, send their demo in.
That's awesome.
I've had Australia. I've had people from Germany send stuff in just this last week. People from Russia. I've had bands from. I think you know the ska band out of Europe. What is it? The Netherlands. Scapiche. They actually send stuff to me all the time. I mean, like, I'm great friends with them. It's become a very worldwide thing, and I'm happy with that because, to be honest with you, like in the Nashville scene, the local bands are really gifted and they're really talented, but there are some local bands that just don't, they don't take advantage of things like this.
Right.
Me personally, if I saw a podcast online that was like, we're going to play your music for free, I'd be like submitting myself immediately, but it just doesn't happen in Nashville necessarily. It's just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe they think they're too good for it. I'm just being real.
I don't know. I think people like to waste their money, because as we've done this and we've found more and more people, there are people who will just play music for free, and it's like, why wouldn't you do that? Like all those podcasts that charge you to play a song, why the fuck are you paying to play? That makes no goddamn sense. You're not running your business model very correctly, in my opinion. Like, if you are in music to try to make it, that doesn't mean fucking sell your shit off first. That's why I think the music industry is backwards, and we haven't bought into the fact that it should be a collab, and we're the ones that have the power. Like, we just have to agree to, like, help each other. And then we all reap the benefit.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I even went to an award show in Nashville because I think Dead Watt had gotten nominated for, like, I think it was like Music Video of the Year. And, they interviewed us, but they never showed our interview. They showed people's interviews who they kind of have in their pockets. And I was like, man, And I think I was the moment I was like, yeah, I'm done with this Nashville thing. I'm in the Nashville scene, of course, but I'm just going to do my own thing, and I'm going to make bands. I'm going to expose bands that want to be exposed. I'm not going to charge them. I'm not going to force them to do things like that. Like, I don't know. I have a guilty conscience about trying to charge a band money personally. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, yeah, I just couldn't do that. I mean, because I know what it's like to be a band that's trying to make it and not having the resources you need. I've been there. I've done that. I've worn the T-shirt thousands of times, and it's just not a cool thing. And also, I try to work with other organizations like you guys. I try to work with like people like What Do You Know About Ska Punk. I try to work with people like Punk Black, who Punk Black. They showcase people of color in the rock scene. I try to help them out, get them some views and things, and send people their way. And it's basically, I just try to create a network everybody's gonna work together in and kind of thrive in together. Because in my view, if I make it or if we blow up, then in my view, everybody around me is gonna blow up. That's how I've always been.
Yeah.
That's how I've always looked at it.
So talk to us about. So you're a trumpet player, right?
I am.
But I feel as if I know that you play other things as well, correct?
I do.
I thought so. So talk to us about what you play and how many projects you've been in and what you're currently doing. It's a 3-parter.
Okay, so long story short, I started as a trumpet player growing up. I started when I was, I think, 9 years old. I went to college for it. I have a master's degree in music for trumpet performance. So I played in a lot of orchestras. I played in a lot of symphonies. I played in a lot of bands, cornet bands, brass quintet, weddings, funerals. I've done everything. Over the last 2 decades, I've done that. That's just been my thing. And then when I got out of school, I started learning more instruments. I don't know if people know this or not, but when you go to music school, they actually teach you how to play all the instruments. Mm-hmm. Whether they teach you how to play them well or not, it's up to you, really, as a person. But I actually learned how to play all the brass instruments. And so when I learned how to play all the brass instruments, like trombone, French horn, trumpet, tuba, all those kind of instruments, euphonium, I started teaching trumpet lessons back in around, I think, 2013. Mm-hmm. So, and I started teaching trumpet lessons for like different areas. I'm centered around Metro Nashville now, so I have a lot of students in that area that are very gifted at that. I will say I have some very gifted students. So the teacher thing was just kind of my thing. But when I joined my band Dead White, I joined them around 2014 while I was still kind of going through some more degrees that I was obtaining. I sort of started learning how to play other stuff. I already knew how to play drums when I was little. I was playing in my gospel choir with my mom. But I started kind of just branching off with that. But like now I have learned how to play guitar a little bit. I have learned how to play bass a little bit over the years, slowly. It's not been an easy process. I'm not good at string instruments. But I have learned. Yeah, I have learned how to play those in the last couple of weeks of me writing my EP. I've learned how to play those. So So I mean, it's just been. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I know how to play everything, but it doesn't take me long to learn how to play it. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the other two questions were: what groups are you in? What bands are you currently in, or have been in?
Okay, so the only bands that I've been in were Dead White, which was a ska punk band out of Nashville. Growing up, during college, I was in a couple of bands, like jazz bands, that were outside of the college. So I was in like I think they were called the Streamliners Jazz Band, or Jazz Orchestra, or something like that. I played with a couple of people. I wasn't like a full-time member, but I just kind of subbed for people and was in and out a lot of years. And then from 2014 to 19, I had really dedicated myself to Dead White because I just really had a vision for it, and so I stuck with that. But as of right now, I'm just in one project, and that's just the one I'm on right now. It's my self-titled project. I'm just going as myself. I don't have a band name or anything. It's just me.
So how did you transition from a group to yourself?
Well, first, I did it very lonely. It's weird. It's weird going from a band to your own solo artist. But to be honest with you, there was a weird kind of serenity about it for me because I didn't have to hear. I don't want to play that song. That song sucks. I want to play my song. I don't have to hear all that every day anymore. If I have an idea, it's my idea, and I'm going to put it on the table, and I'm going to do it, rather than me putting an idea on the table and having 10 other people in the band like, no, we don't like that idea, but they're not coming up with ideas at all.
Right.
They're waiting for you to do it. They're waiting for you to do it, and then when you throw an idea at them, they're like, no, I don't like that. We should do this, and then their idea is not nearly as thought out as yours, and then you're just wasting time. I don't have to deal with that anymore. So I think for me, it was weird at first, but when I really started writing the EP and I really started, centering in on what my sound is going to be next, outside of my band, of the old band I was in, I think I really started having fun there.
Do you think that you'll ever go back to being in a band, or you're just enjoying this solo stuff so much that that's going to be your focus for a while?
I think the solo scene is going to be my focus for a while. I'm going to have a band. I have people right now that are like, hey, they're gearing up, getting ready for me to start rehearsals because that is my band, But it's not going to be Les McDonald and such. It's just going to be Les McDonald. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'll go back to a band one day when I feel like I will be utilized the way I want to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like being put in a box. You know, the last band I was in, the lead singer thought he was better than all of us, so he was like, well, you know what? Les is just going to play trumpet. He's not going to sing. I don't want to hear about his Black Lives Matters issues. I don't want to hear about his racial issues. I don't care about him. It's about me. I don't have, you know, that kind of burnt me out from being in a band. And, you know, especially when you're in a band with people who, I'm not saying have to believe the same things you do, because nobody's going to do that. But they do have to have a similar, in order to be I don't know, in my opinion, in order to be a successful band, each of you have to come to a common agreement that all people should be, you know, in your music. Mm-hmm. That if you're going to write music based on social justice or anything, all of you should come to the common agreement that everyone, no matter what they are or what they identify as or who they are, should be treated equal. If you can't come to that agreement, you don't need to be in a band with people. So, it's just my opinion.
Well, that kind of brings up an interesting point. So the new album that you wrote is very, I would say, I can't even say politically charged. It's human-centric. It touches upon our current climate and the need to recognize people's issues, to be able to evolve and move forward. And I've picked up on a common theme throughout our conversation is there seems to be quite an oppressive climate that surrounds you, Les. Do you feel like the music scene is out there just to have fun? Like, ska and punk to me were political music because they were formed with the purpose of creating revolution and making people think. Do you feel, you know, that has kind of gone away, or that people are too scared to touch on those issues and make music a commodity again? And that's why you're just branching off and doing your own thing?
Well, honestly, I just got tired of people that were running my band, my old band. I got tired of people around that group saying, you shouldn't make music that's political because our friends are going to be mad about it if you do. Or somebody saying, we can't put that on the radio, it's not going to sell. Like, screw the radio, like, the hell with the radio, I don't care. Gotcha. You know, like, if we have something to say, I think we should be able to say it. And I think I want to say a lot of bands, period, not just ska band. A lot of bands are scared to take a walk on that side of the spectrum, so to speak. They want to write music that's fun and everything, but when it comes down to it, they really do want to write music that's kind of reflecting what they're saying. I'm just reflecting what I'm seeing in my music. Mm-hmm. So when you said, you know, you seem like you're in an oppressive environment, I am. You know, I had people telling me that I'm not allowed to speak on things. I've had people telling me in my own band that I'm not allowed to write music. I'm not, you know, because I'm a classical musician, that my music would be trash, or that because I'm African American, their white friends are not going to be able to handle what I'm saying, and that's going to make us lose fans. Ooh. All that kind of stuff. You know, I've been in some. I mean, even people that are higher up that are on like labels and things saying, we like your band, but you need to write music that's not so politically charged. Why are you so sad all the time? Why are you so unhappy all the time with, you know, with your music? It's so doom and gloom. Well, hell, I'm just reflecting what the hell I'm seeing in society. I'm not doing this for likes or fame or anything. I'm reflecting what I'm seeing because it's therapeutic for me. And it helps me cope with what's going on, or else I would explode if I didn't write music like that, you know. So, a lot of bands are just scared to do that nowadays. But also, too, you have to be careful with bands that are out there and they're making music just to trend.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna say a band's name, but there was a band a few years ago, and that made a song about Donald Trump, a ska band. Made a song about Donald Trump, and it was just for likes. They got all the likes they wanted to get. Mm. And after that, it was just downhill from there. They didn't care about the fans at all. You know, they didn't care about the fans. They just wanted money from the fans. So artists have to be careful that they make their intentions clear. I make my intentions clear. I'm not writing music just to trend during a time where society's going awry right now. I'm actually making music because these are things I've had on my heart for years. I just wanted to get out of my chest and get off my chest, you know.
So let's talk about that and get things off your chest. First, before I jump into these questions, because it's going to lead, how do you self-identify?
What do you mean now?
How do you self-identify? So I ask this question to every human being I meet because we very much have reached this precipice where we assume based on what we see and our perspective that they are black, white, male, female, LGBT, whatever. So I always ask people, how do you identify? Because it's going to lead into my question about the music you're currently writing. You said, I think a few minutes ago, that you identify as black, African American.
Yes.
Which one do you choose? Or do you choose both? Are you fluid? Do you go back and forth?
Honestly, I go back and forth. And here's the tricky part. So I say I'm African American. I think sometimes I just say black because I want to shorten it. I don't want to say African American because it seems like it's a really long thing to say.
Okay.
But I mean, really, it's like, what are you? I'm African American. Well, you know, like you can ask my family. They're like, we're black, man, and that's just the way they are, and that's fine. I've kind of tried to get out of saying black around my daughters because I want her to identify as African American.
Okay.
You know, she's mixed, but I try to say African American and not black. I don't know. I'm strange like that.
That's fine.
I grew up in a town where it's like, you know, black means bad, and and white means good. I mean, that's what I grew up in. I'm not saying that made a decision on what I identify as. I'm saying I say African American mostly just because I'm proud of my heritage. You know, I want people to know that I'm African, and that's kind of why I stand on it, I guess.
And that's kind of what you're writing about in this LP. How is it, an LP, EP? What do you call these things? The thing on Bandcamp.
It's an EP.
Okay.
I just made it an EP. There's like 3 songs on it, so I mean, it's an EP. I'm actually working on an LP right now, so I'll be able to say LP soon. But that I have 10 songs on it, and so that'll be nice. But yeah, it's an EP.
So that's what, that whole EP is about that. It's about self-identification and currently what you're experiencing and viewing within life today. So talk to the people about this EP, the name of it, and how you come to have the content on it that you do.
Okay, so the EP is called To Whom It May Concern, and it's an open letter to anybody that has pissed me off in the last decade. So, I'll go track by track. The song What The is about to be honest with you, it's about my old podcast. And it's about how fake they are, but I ain't going to start with that. But it's about how fake they are and how they're just trending for likes rather than trending because they want people to actually have a fighting chance at music. And then behind the scenes, these same people are saying homophobic and xenophobic comments behind the scenes, but out front they're pretending that they're these great people, and they're not. So that song is pretty much me venting about them being fake. And the next one, Black Over Blue, I actually wrote Black Over Blue to remind African Americans of where we came from, what has happened to us, not to make people angry, but to help people remember that during those times of civil unrest and during the civil rights movement of the 60s and the 50s and all that, and during that era, our people had a certain humility about them. They had a certain air about them that no matter what you did to those people, they were going to stand up and keep fighting until they got what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And in my view, I think some of my culture has forgotten that over the years. And and so there was anger. I know my ancestors and I know my family members that speak to me about these things. They were angry when all those things happened to them back in the 60s. My mom included. She talked to me about it all the time. They were very angry at the things that happened, but they had a certain. They were angry, but they resolved their anger in ways that was beneficial rather than detrimental. I guess you could say. And so I try to remind people in Black Over Blue that these things that are going on right now, they've been happening over the years. Things haven't changed. We're just trying to go towards a new way of doing things. Mm-hmm. And it was also really a song to kind of protest police brutality also. It wasn't, Black Over Blue is about my choice to be proud of being black over being depressed about it. That's what Black Over Blue means. Mm-hmm. But it's also a double for, police brutality, that my blackness is more important than a blue life, so to speak. Not dissing police, but saying that, a lot of policemen chose to be policemen.
It's a fucking profession. You don't have a blue life, God damn it. It's a profession.
That's what I'm saying. So, that's their choice. They don't want to be a cop. Go work at Dunkin' Donuts or some shit. Whatever. And, but I can't get out of my skin when I go home at night. I have to live with it. And that's what Black Over Blue is. Mm-hmm. That's what that means to me. So, and to whom it may concern, it's about my ex. It's about my ex.
Okay.
And so it's just me saying, I'm better off without her, and I'm moving on with my life. I'm good. There was a lot of anger in that song, I'm sure, but I tried to make sure that I didn't have so much anger and more singing, so to speak. But it's also about people just using you as pawns to play their little game. And so that's what, I touched on a lot of subjects on that EP that I just felt like it was just time to get off my chest. I feel better about it, since I've done it, and I'm glad that people's response has been great to it. I haven't had anybody say, well, you suck. If they do, they say it behind my back. But people have been really responding to it, and they've really liked it. So I'm happy that people get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's very... If anybody is confused about the message, then they haven't been paying attention. I guess.
I know. I had one person tell me that they were like, "Can you not make songs about being black?" I had somebody in my inbox do that to me on Facebook. They're like, "It's just really all lives matter," and I was like, "Fuck you," whatever.
Oh, and wow.
People are really upset about me. There's a lot. People turned my music video in to YouTube to say I was committing hate speech.
Yes, I was going to get there. You made... Talk about that whole thing, because you asked for submissions, right? Because it was like a comp, correct?
It was, and so basically, long story short, I was trying to do music videos, and I was saying, hey guys, I put together a lyric video, and that's what my lyric video was. That's what they took down, was a lyric video. I said, here's the lyric video. If you have any images any of you want to send me that you think would go in this lyric video, let me know. And people were sending me videos of them holding up hashtag signs and stuff. I didn't have enough video footage of people holding up signs. I said, send a hashtag in of something that means something to you that you want to see change in the world.
Right.
I didn't have enough people do that. So people helped me put together a collage of images from the civil rights era and the images from today, actually.
Right.
And so what I did was I put that together, and I worked on that. I think it took me about 7 hours to get that lyric video done, to make it hit just right. Man, I posted that online on YouTube, and a friend of mine shared it in my hometown. Hey, hometown guy Les McDonald just posted a new music video. Check it out. And it wasn't 10 damn minutes, and the video was taken down. Somebody out of my hometown had recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah. So Carthage, Tennessee, thank you so much for that.
But that just, I think, speaks to what's happening is, I don't know, we have a group of people who feel oppressed, who have no right to feel oppressed, because they're the oppressors. And, in psychology, there is a lot of phenomenon where the oppressor becomes so upset because they don't want to be acting the way they are, and when they see it reflected back, they then try to push off all of that yuck onto, again, a different group of people instead of themselves. And I feel like we just, as much as people keep complaining that images and media and all of that's just reflecting the negative, if we don't see that, we don't, I think, consciously remember that oppression is happening every fucking day. Slavery didn't go away. White people just figured out a way to make it legal. And we created all of these other falsehoods that became society currently. And everything that is everything is entrenched in that. So we have to keep seeing that. Do you still have the video?
The video is up. It's on my actual Facebook, Les McDonald Facebook page.
Awesome.
It's still. I think it reached 2,000 to 3,000 views already. So people are sharing it, and like people are liking it, and they're sharing it with their friends, and getting a lot of views from it. I'm really thankful for that. And also too, I try to let people know every chance I get. The problem in society for me right now is that I don't think there's a single African American out there that's blaming current white people for slavery or things of like that sort. It's not that. But the problem is that when people of today reflect those attitudes of the past, is when we start saying, hey, we're not doing that anymore. That's not how the world's going to work. You can't live here like that. They always I've had people tell me 3 times this week, if you don't like America, go home. Go back to where you came from. I've had people say that to me this week.
Motherfucker, I'm from here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, sure, I'll go back to my house. Like, I'm from here. I'm American. But the thing is, though, no one's blaming white people of today for the actions of what happened back in the day until those people of today show bias like the people of the past do, and then we have a problem. And that's what's going on right now, is that there are people like, and I put a video about this a few months ago on the shadow scene. The people that wore those hoods back in the day, those white hoods, and were marched down the street with a torch and burned crosses and all those things, are now your mayor. They're your owner of a hospital. They're your mayor. They're your drugstore owner. They're your school teacher. They're your principal, and they're running things. And that's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem we have in society right now. Mm-hmm. And until people know, and until people realize that, we're always going to have that problem. There are teachers here in Smith County right now, where I'm from, in Carthage, that are posting, racial stuff, racist posts every 5 minutes from their timeline, and they're teaching my child, and my child has to go to school and listen to their dumb asses every day.
I was going to ask you, as a parent, how do you combat that? Like, how do you deal with that as a parent and as a member of a community that you want to see change?
So, this issue with my daughter didn't come up until this last 2 years in school. She actually had a classmate come up to her and make fun of another kid for being brown. And she came home to me and said, I turned him in today. I was proud of her. She goes, I turned him in today. He don't need to be making fun of people because they're brown. He don't belong in my classroom. She was really irate. And I'm really happy that she's like really aware of things like that. But she will tell you, I'm African American and I'm proud of that. She will tell you straight up. She's mixed. She's African American and she's Caucasian. She's mixed. I'm not always going to agree with the other family side of things. Just to be honest with you, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I may not. They may say something that I don't agree with. I just respectfully, I think the thing that I can honestly say that I've done a great job with her mom is saying, these are the issues that are most important. This is what we're going to teach her. Basically, 9 times out of 10, it comes down to treat everyone with respect and treat them the way you want to be treated. And that's what we raise her on. Mm-hmm. And I think we've done a great job of that so far. But she is growing up and seeing things, as they are, and it can be maddening for a child to see all these things. It can be, for me, I witnessed all these things from an early age. I got called the N-word in kindergarten. I got called it in first grade all the way through. I was a senior in high school. I've been called it by teachers. I've been called it by people I went to college with that are now band directors in Alabama and everywhere else. I'm just saying, I've been called so many names so many times that it just doesn't bother me anymore. She shouldn't have to go through that. So the minute that she has an issue at school, I'm right there to make sure that she doesn't have to look at that. So it's tough. We're in a bad climate for kids right now, but the only thing you can do for your kids really is just teach them right and wrong, and teach them that teach them to respect everyone. I'm not going to hide this from anybody. I think everybody knows that I identify as Christian. I don't think anybody would deny that. Seeing my Facebook. I'm also not shoving my Christianity down people's face either, or down people's throats. A lot of my friends are Muslim and other religions, Buddha, whatever, and I take time to know what they what those things mean to them because I'm their friend, and that's important to them. So it's important to me that I know about their culture. I've been to mosque and things like that with my Muslim friends and worship with them before. Just because I want to show them that, I care about them as a people. And I will always stick up for Muslims. I will always stick up for people who are different religions. I'm always going to stick up for LGBT people. Like people that are like identify as that. I'm always going to stick up for those people because I'm just not. I wasn't raised like that. A lot of people around here, they were. So I just try to teach, my daughter how to respect people, and that's all I can do.
I have to say, I find that as I've gotten older and studied more and, kind of embraced a different type of my own, I would say, spirituality and understanding of the cosmic universe, we Christians are so far from anything that is Christ, and I feel like that's unfortunate, because if you actually read and study who Jesus was, he was punk rock as fuck. He did not give a shit. He loved everybody, and that's what the message was. It wasn't only if they're this thing. So
yes, and I try to follow that. There were plenty of times in school where a lot of my friends were bullied for being homosexual, and they would come to me and go, I don't want to be here, I don't want to live, I don't want to, and I would always make sure they knew that they had a friend to talk to in me. I've always been that way. My mom is that way. My uncle is that way. My family is that way. My girlfriend is that way. She loves everyone. She don't care what you are. So we try to instill that in our kids too, and that's just how we are. And
So
I'm glad we are like that. So to speak,
Identifying as an African American male in Carthage, Tennessee, and experiencing, I would say, a lengthy lifetime of institutionalized racism, how safe do you feel in your community? And is it safer in the music community, or do we still got issues we got to work with within that?
Well, first of all, and I'm sure people that are listening are probably going to laugh at me when I say this. Nobody's going to bother me in my hometown because everybody knows that I'm mean as hell. So they know that if they say something to me, it's going to be a flat on their hands. So they don't bother me. I don't like these days. People really don't bother me here. They may say things online. If I see those people in town, they will not speak 2 words to me because they're chickens, but keyboard warriors. You know how it is. They'll say things online, but the minute they see you at McDonald's, they're not going to say a word. So I don't worry about being safe here because, quite frankly, I just don't worry about that. But as far as the music scene goes, I have seen a lot of bullcrap going on in the music scene in Nashville the last couple of months since all this has happened, and I'm really appalled by what I'm seeing. I'm even more appalled that I really pay attention to people, first of all. The bands that are being very quiet and not saying anything until certain things happen, I'm watching those people. So, like George Floyd, with his death, right?
Right.
I've seen a million people post, a million bands post about the death of George Floyd. I've seen a million people post about Black Lives Matter. There were a couple of bands in Nashville and all over the country that I was watching very carefully, and I was watching them closely, going, okay, they're not saying a word. So that's a red flag for me when they don't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start really paying attention to people that are saying something. If you watch very carefully and you notice people that are being quiet, you notice that the minute that those protests started and the riots started and the looting started, they opened their mouth 10 feet and they were talking and they were running their mouth. So those are the people that I don't really like in the Nashville scene. I was watching them very carefully. I know who they are, and quite frankly, they'll probably have an EP out about them in 2 days because I hate them. So just to be honest with you, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to call them out when it's time to. I have a list on my computer of bands that didn't say a word. I'm not kidding. I really do. Bands that were very quiet until the protest started, and I watched carefully to make sure that I'm, whatever. Now, a lot of the bands that I expected to speak on it, they did.
Okay.
And a lot of the bands okay, prime example, I'm going to get on with this because I know y'all going to laugh at me for this. I cannot stand that band Trap. I cannot stand them at all. I didn't like them back in the day anyway. I really don't like them now because they get online and they say very racist stuff on their Twitter all the time.
I saw that you got into that with, with them.
Yeah, and so they're always making derogatory comments towards Black Lives Matter and towards people of color all the time on their Facebook. And first of all, screw them because they had one hit song and it wasn't even that great. And they think they're gods of music, and I hate to tell them, but like the only time I listen to their songs is literally like at a party at 3 a.m. when I'm drunk. That's the only time I listen to a trap song, and even then it's sketchy for me. So they've been getting online making a lot of derogatory stuff. Norma Jean, they made a comment. You know that band Norma Jean, right?
Yes.
The metalcore band.
Yes, I do.
They made a comment. Yeah, their lead singer Corey Brendan made a comment. And he made a comment because I think he's kind of right wing a little bit, and I'm not going to diss him for being right wing, so to speak, but like he's very vocal about things, and he doesn't really stick up for people that are of color. I haven't noticed him ever doing it. He follows me on Twitter and talks to me from time to time, and I never knew he was that prejudiced until I got on there and I started reading some of his stuff. Now he's apologized since then, right?
Oh, wow.
On Twitter and. Yeah, he apologized to everybody for that. Like, I'm sorry. My comment was insensitive. I'm so sorry. So I emailed Norma Jean and said, I forgive you guys. You're good. Don't worry about it. Like, they're like, we're going to take time to educate ourselves. They actually put a statement out. We're going to take time to educate ourselves on this, and we're going to be better people about this. And I was like, you know what? Like, guys, I forgive you. And they were like, thanks, man. We really appreciate it. And there was no hard feelings.
Good.
So I don't hate them for anything. I'm still a fan of Norma Jean, by the way. I'm not, I didn't disown them like everybody else did. But there have been a lot of bands that have said a lot of stuff, and you just have to watch who's saying. You have to watch who's saying the right stuff.
That's very true. Or who's not saying anything.
Yeah, silence goes. Silence is very loud.
Yes.
Very.
So
that's what I've been noticing.
So let's talk about that. The EP, for whom it may concern, you did yourself, all of it. You played all of it.
Yes.
So talk to the viewers. We've got a few from Australia who are like, hey, and your girlfriend's watching, so hi.
Hi, Lindsay.
So tell those who are watching and listening and paying attention, how did you make your EP? And will you continue to do the same thing with the LP?
So, because of COVID, the EP was written in my house, and this is funny, but I have a healthcare job that I go to every weekend, right?
Okay.
And I got bored one night because my patients were asleep. I didn't have anything to do, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna write a song. So I wrote a song. I wrote one song on GarageBand. And then I was like, you know what? I'll write another song. And I wrote another song. And I was like, all right, I'm going to write another one. And I started writing stuff. Before you knew it, I had 3 or 4 songs, maybe 5 songs, I want to say, actually, that I had that I really liked. And I was like, well, I don't want them to sound too much like they're on GarageBand, so I'm going to try to play them the best I can. So I borrowed somebody's guitar from next door and their bass from next door, and I hooked it up to my laptop and I just played. And I just played along with the track, and I tracked it that way. And then I didn't have any music for it. And then I was like, I didn't have any lyrics for it. I was like, I'm going to try my hand at being a lyricist because people have told me that I'm not a great singer. I'm not going to be able. I can't scream. I can't growl. I'm going to try all this thing. I'm going to try all these things. It's an experiment. And so I came home every day for a couple of hours to my apartment, and I locked myself in my room. I put my microphone up to my face, and I just started just recording lyrics all day long, and until I had a full, EP. And I've had to sat on some stuff for a couple of days. I run ideas by my girlfriend. You like this? No, I don't like that. And I sent something back. She goes, yeah, I like that. So okay, I'll keep it. So thanks to Lindsay because she was really helping me out, with my lyrics, so to speak, to make sure that I was making sense, I guess you could say. So, yeah, so I just wrote it at home that way.
Neat. So how long did it take you from start to finish, to make it and then release it?
So I started doing this in around March 15th.
Okay.
I just had an idea, and then so from March 15th to May the 20th, I had songs. I had 5 songs, and then I picked 3 that I was going to do for this EP, for just this one, and then I refined them from March the 25th all the way to June 10th or so. Well, from June 10th I wrote something else. I think it's from like I want to say I released Black Over Blue pretty early, didn't I?
Yeah.
It was about 2 weeks. It was about 2 weeks of refinement, and then I released them. And then then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna release anything else. I'll put the 3rd track or the 1st track on the EP so they can hear that. I won't release that just yet until the EP comes out. So it was just me just hovering around from probably like March all the way to April-ish.
Okay.
With the idea.
So not very long. You really.
Do what now?
I said not very long. Then you like cranked this out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I did. And that's the funny thing about me. It doesn't take me long to make up things. I just whatever's on the top of my head. That's what on the EP. Whatever came to my head, whatever came out of my mouth, is what I put down. There was a lot of retakes, of course, but I was kind of freestyling on the fly, kind of, and then I would go back and kind of refine the freestyle and actually make melodies, and then. Before I knew it, I was like, well, I got a song, cool, So it was, it didn't take me long, but, for the last, I think, 3.5 months, this is a funny story right here. For the last 3.5 months, I was kind of like not doing anything between, I think it was like December the 1st all the way to like January the 30th, 31st or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing anything at all. I wasn't singing or anything. I had a single that was coming out. And on the single, I was working with an old bandmate. He was going to produce the track for me, right?
Yes.
And I got in the studio, and he started complaining about how my sound is. He didn't like my melodies. He didn't like my voice. He didn't like my accent on the songs. He didn't like that my voice was ruining the integrity of his guitar playing.
Wow.
On the track.
What?
Yeah, all this kind of stupid shit. And then so finally... So then I was sitting there with him, dealing with him, and then there's this guy that was like running the soundboard, and he was like drunk off cough medicine, so he was trashed anyway. So I just didn't have a good experience with that guy at all. I'm just being honest, I didn't have a good experience writing that song.
No.
I even forget. I think the song was called Angry or something like that at first, and they remade it or something with the guy that was the guitar player redoing it. He redid it or something for himself, which is fine. It's, whatever, I don't care. But I just didn't have fun doing it. It wasn't what I wanted to do, and they were trying to change every single thing that I sang, what my subjects were about, what my melodies were going to sound like, and I just realized right then, like, this isn't for me. I got to break off and do my own thing.
Well, we'll never silence you, Les. So whatever you decide to write, make, and need a platform to get it out onto, it is welcome here.
That was, we wrote a song in Dead White too that was a, I think it was called Purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote the whole thing myself, and I got my bass player, my friend Steve, to kind of help me convert it to where it was going to fit our band at the time. And we wrote it, and it was great. And, then the lead singer was like, I'm going to write the lyrics. And we were like, okay, fine. And he made the song about himself.
Oh.
He put his own name in the song. And we were like, yeah, that's not cool.
Does he also have his name tattooed on him so he doesn't forget who he is?
Dude, I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't have his name tattooed on himself.
But it's backwards.
That's what I'm saying. So I was, dealing with that, and then now I get to kind of express my own voice. It's kind of fun for me.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
So when can people expect the LP? Are you in the works to finish that?
I actually just started track 3 today.
Okay.
So I'm hoping. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get 7 songs ready to go. And then I'm going to give them to some of the people that are going to play on the next record. We're going to go in a studio and play on the record. And I'm going to get them to do it for me. And then I should have it out probably around January, I hope. I can have it out by then.
So,
So
go on. Sorry.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, just January. It'll be around the time I put it out by then. Surely.
Good. So how about this? Because we've reached the top of the hour, do you have merchandise for the Shadow Scene podcast or for your band, your project?
I do not, but I do not yet. I actually have designs that I have to submit because I have a person that makes my T-shirts for me.
Okay.
But if people just follow my Shadow Scene podcast page or just follow my Les McDonald page, they'll be able to check it out. They'll be able to get a link to my Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably just put it on Bandcamp. I'll just say that. Just go to my Bandcamp and I'll have merchandise up soon.
And
surely, I would hope so.
When does your next podcast air?
I'm actually going to release another episode this Sunday at noon.
Woohoo! And that can be found on... Give the places it can be found at.
YouTube. And then, like I said, I'm going to air it on just my actual podcast page on Facebook. I don't know if I'm going to put it on SoundCloud yet, just because I don't know. SoundCloud, I'm not a fan of SoundCloud that much. Mm-hmm. But as long as they go on YouTube or my Facebook page, whatever they prefer, I'll have the link to the YouTube, so they'll be able to go on YouTube and watch it and subscribe also.
And anybody who's watching who is in a band, if they'd like to be on your show, how would they get in touch with you?
They can reach me at theshadowsceneshow@gmail.com and just submit their bio, submit a music video, or just a MP3. And if they want to be on the show also, they can email me and I can try to set it up to where I can give them an interview.
Neat.
So, yeah, just as long as they email me, they can be on the show.
Wonderful. And
I have a really awesome band out of LA. I actually have a really awesome band out of LA that's going to be on the show this weekend. They sent their music video to me. It's such an awesome band. I'm going to surprise everybody with them because they're really phenomenal. But so I'm getting hits all the way out of LA. It's wonderful. It's great.
Excited. So before we leave, how about you give some shout outs to bands that we should know? Who should we know, Les?
Ska band or just band in general?
Any band that you really enjoy that you think people should check out.
Okay, so I can go ahead and reveal the secret. There's a band out of LA. They're called, let me check their name right. Okay, sorry. Their name is Crash Overcast out of LA. Phenomenal band. Y'all should really go follow them on Facebook. As far as Nashville is concerned, my friends Balmora, phenomenal band. Safe Secret, they're a phenomenal band. You have to go check them out. Pretty much, I'm just going to start posting bands from week to week. There's so many bands I have on my mind that I can't get out all at one time. But anybody that I've had on the show, it's Capiche, Spank Shaft. I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but Spank Shaft actually, they allowed me to use their song for my theme song for the show.
That's awesome.
So shout out to them. Regular of the Obscene is an actual Nashville ska band. They're phenomenal. They have a record out right now. I don't think they're playing shows, of course. Nobody is. We have a ton of ska bands out of here. Oh, there is a band out of Memphis that everybody needs to check out. This is funny. There's a band out of Memphis called Negro Terror. Mm-hmm. That's what their name is. They're phenomenal. If nobody has seen this band yet, y'all really need to go check out their video on, I think it's on YouTube and their actual Facebook page. But phenomenal band. They have been racing against the machine since all this started. Mm-hmm. They have no filter whatsoever on Facebook. So there's a ton of bands I can name. Autumn Life Berry out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Run and Punch, you remember them?
Yes, I know Run and Punch.
Yeah, phenomenal band. I'm a big, believe it or not, I'm a huge fan of them. I always share their stuff. Anytime they share something, I share it.
I have a great story about how I met them.
You what?
I have a great story about how I met them and became friends with Anthony and Christopher.
Yeah.
They played in Kenosha in October of 2013 at this little dive called Hatrix. And it was at a pinnacle moment in my life where I was making the decision to leave the now ex-husband. I had not been to a ska show in ever. Like, it had been so long. My friend was like, you need to come to this show. This band from Chicago is really good. They have ska back in Kenosha. And I was like, I'll go. So I go and I listen to them playing, and I have a great time, and I dance, and I go outside to smoke. And I'm smoking a clove, and they come outside, and they're like, who the fuck is smoking a clove? And I was like, it's me! And from then on, it was like Christopher Curtis, trumpet player, Just the Ska Kid, clove smoker. And it was that's how I met them.
Honestly, that's amazing.
That's how.
Honestly, I really love them because like Lindsay, my girlfriend, actually was saying the same thing a few months ago when I let her listen to them. They really embody the Chicago sound.
Yes.
To me, I don't know what it is. Like Chicago sound is my favorite type of band sound, so to speak. So like them. I know everybody's gonna probably like go boo, but like Fall Out Boy was a big band for me growing up personally, and they had. they are the old school Fall Out Boy, not new crappy Fall Out Boy, but
No, Chicago does have a sound.
Yeah, it does. They just have a distinct sound. Every area in America has their own distinct sound. If you go out to L.A., Spank Shaft and all those bands out there have their own kind of sound. If you go to New York, those bands out in New York have their own kind of sound. If you go towards like the South, Nashville, Louisiana, places like that, all the ska bands around here have their own sound too. So it's kind of cool to see the different vibes that you get when you go places. Mm-hmm. It's really awesome.
Well,
yeah.
Well, sir, in closing, what are your final thoughts before we let you go and then play To Whom It May Concern?
My final thoughts?
Yes.
Trap sucks. That's my final thought.
Okay.
And also thank you guys for having me on today, and love the show. I'll share y'all's show every chance I get. I share the show. So
I know. Thank
I'm
you.
behind you guys all the way.
Thank you. We're behind you guys too. Well, we're behind you.
Me, yay!
Thank you, Les.
Thank y'all. Really appreciate it.
And
no problem. Thank you.
Yes, we'll look for your next podcast Sunday at noon.
Awesome. See y'all then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was amazing that it ended so well and cleanly. So thank you, Les McDonald, for joining us on the show. Shadow Scene. Oh my God. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. The Shadow Scene podcast, which you can check out on Facebook and YouTube as well as SoundCloud. But again, directing traffic to the Facebook and the YouTube. He's going to release a new podcast on Sunday at noon. You can go back and check all of his stuff out. The video that is Black Over Blue is up on his Facebook page, so you can check that out as well. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to play for you that music, okay?
Thanks.
Bye.
Come on.